Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, let's dive right in, shall we? Brutus, Cassius, both important members of the Roman government,
Yes.
and very close personally. Cassius, you're Brutus's brother-in-law, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
This must be a proud day for you. Lots of celebrations going on. Caesar's been victorious.
Indeed, it's a special day.
Well, so there you are, among other officials, following Caesar on his way to the festival of the Lupercal to see the races. Sounds exciting.
Yes, the Feast of the Lupercal is a very special day. It celebrates the very founding of Rome.
Yes, well, I must confess, that's been a little bit confusing. It seems like lots of people are celebrating the return of Caesar, the triumph parade and all of that, but at the same time, there's this festival going on.
Yes, well, let's just say I'm glad the focus is moving in the direction of the festival.
Ah, so the triumph business, all that, you're not so excited about that?
No comment.
Oh, please, don't worry. This is a private conversation. Actually, let's not rush into things. These may seem like small details, but I have actually a couple of questions for you about some things that happen on the way to the race.
Certainly.
Well, the first is when Caesar calls for his wife Calpurnia, and he tells her to make sure to stand in Mark Antony's way when he runs the race, so that he can touch her as he passes by. What's all that about?
It's an old tradition. It's said that if any barren woman touches a runner of the race, she'll be able to bear a child.
Barren woman. So Caesar and his wife haven't been able to have children.
Yes, that is true. And any couple of our station in life longs to have a child. The strength of Rome is in its families, after all.
And every dictator wants an heir.
Dictator?
Never mind.
You said you had a few questions?
Yes, the other thing that happens is that a soothsayer cries out from the crowd and attracts Caesar's attention.
A soothsayer.
Yeah, a fortune teller, somebody who predicts the future.
We know what a soothsayer is.
What does he say?
Well, he tells Caesar, beware the Ides of March.
A soothsayer bids Caesar beware the Ides of March.
That's right. So what is that exactly, the Ides of March?
The Ides are the 15th. It just means beware March 15th. That's tomorrow, isn't it?
So what is that, tax day or something?
In Rome, every day is tax day.
What does Caesar say?
Well, he calls the man a dreamer, and then off he goes, and everyone else follows behind.
Are you going?
No, not I.
You should go.
No, I'm not much of the sporting type. Not like Antony, anyway. But you should go. Don't let me stop you.
Are you sure we can speak in confidence here?
Absolutely. Speak freely. By the time people hear this, all this will be ancient history.
It's just you've not been your usual self lately, Brutus.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm used to seeing a gentleness and a show of love from Brutus's eyes that I've not been seeing lately. You seem grumpy, if you don't mind me saying.
Is that true?
I suppose, but it shouldn't worry you, Cassius. There's just some things that have been on my mind. Things that trouble me.
Passions of some difference, you say.
That's right. But my troubled thoughts shouldn't trouble you, Cassius. You being among one of my closest friends. I'm just spending too much time worried about certain things and forget to show love to other men.
Well, it's funny that you should say that, Brutus. Here I've been thinking that you've been annoyed with me, and so I've been stopping myself from telling you things that could be of great value. Important things. Let me ask you, Brutus, can you see your own face?
Of course not. The eye can only see itself by reflection of some other things.
And that's as it should be. What are friends for, after all? What you need, my friend, is a mirror to show you the worthiness and excellence that is hidden from your own eye.
I'm sorry. You guys have lost me here. What are you talking about?
Many of the very best men in Rome, except immortal Caesar, of course, that think that this guy right here needs to wake up and see the kind of power that he deserves to have, instead of groaning under this age's yoke.
Groaning under this age's yoke.
It may look like a festival today, Ralph, but Rome is in serious trouble, and there are likely to be even darker days ahead.
Caesar is getting too powerful, you mean?
Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius? that you have me seek into myself for that which is not in me.
You mean you're not sure you're as worthy as Cassius says you are?
Let me be your mirror for a minute, Brutus, and you know I'll tell it like it is. You know that I am not a flatterer, and that I don't give my friendship to just anybody. And you know also that I don't let my friends down.
You're not a backstabber.
Exactly. If I had a reputation like that, then I would understand wanting to be suspicious of what I had to say.
I'm sorry to interrupt, gentlemen, but I just want to report that the crowd at the festival has just let out a huge cheer.
Oh, what does that mean? I'm afraid the crowd has chosen Caesar for their king.
Do you fear that? Then you must also not want that to happen.
I don't, but I also love Caesar.
Aha, passions of some difference. You don't want Caesar to become king, but you also really admire Caesar.
What do you have to say, Cassius? If it has something to do with the good of Rome, then just tell me. Serving Rome brings me great honor, and I love honor more than I fear death.
Wow, loving honor more than fearing death. It's kind of a thing with you Romans, isn't it?
It's not really a thing. It's called integrity.
And this guy right here has it, that thing. And that is exactly what my story is about, honor and integrity. I don't know what you and other men think of this world, but for me, I had as lief not be, as live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself.
Right, and what does that mean exactly?
Why should I be in awe of Caesar if he is no better than me? I was born as free as Caesar, and so were you, Brutus.
And so was I.
That's not clear yet.
Well, isn't everybody born free?
Well, all free men are. And slaves are born slaves, or are made slaves when they show themselves to be one. But Brutus and I have fed as well as Caesar, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he can. In fact, I don't know if I told you this story, Brutus, but once, Caesar and I were standing on the banks of the river, and it was a cold and windy day, and the waters were rough, and Caesar said to me, "I dare you, Cassius, to jump into this angry river with me and swim across." I jumped straight in, wearing armor, and I bade him come after me. And we braved the water, and it was rough, and we were trying to outdo each other. And then suddenly, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, I'm drowning." And I saved him. And this man is now becoming a god. And Cassius has to bend his head if Caesar carelessly but look on him. And there was another time in Spain when he had a fever and the fit came upon him.
His epilepsy, you mean?
Whatever you call it. And he was shaking uncontrollably. 'Tis true, this god did shake. He looked and sounded as if he was a sick girl. It amazes me that such a weak man should so win the power of the world for himself.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Cassius, but there's been another big shout from the crowd at the festival.
Again? It must mean more honors are being heaped on Caesar.
Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus. And we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Write them together, yours is as fair a name. Sound them, it doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them, it is as heavy. Conjure with them, Brutus will start a spirit as soon as Caesar. Are you getting all of this, Ralph?
I think I am, except for maybe that last part. Start a spirit?
Raise the dead. Only the name of a god can raise the dead, and the name of Brutus can do that just as soon as the name Caesar could. I mean, what kind of food is this guy eating that he has grown so great? We should be ashamed. When could they say of Rome until now that it encompassed but one person? There was a Brutus once that would have allowed the devil to rule in Rome as easily as a king.
There was a Brutus once?
Long ago, Brutus's ancestor, Junius Brutus, drove out the Tarquins from Rome who tried to rule it as kings. He became one of Rome's first consuls, ruling Rome as a republic. Hatred of tyrants is in Brutus's blood.
Look, I know you love me, and what you're suggesting is something I've thought about as well, but let's talk more about it later. Just know this. Brutus had rather be a villager than to call himself a Roman if things get as bad as we think they might.
Good. I'm glad my words have made an impression on you.
Sorry, gentlemen, to interrupt, but it's just at this moment that Caesar and his retinue come passing back through.
Oh, the games must be over.
We should check in with Casca. He's such a grumpy guy, but he'll let us know if anything important happened.
Well, you notice, Brutus, that Caesar looks like an angry father, followed by his scolded children. You also notice that Caesar's wife, Calpurnia, looks pale, and that Cicero, one of your fellow statesmen, looks angry, looks the way that he does when he's angry at the Senate.
We'll ask Casca what happened.
So, Brutus, you manage to stop Casca before everyone goes away, and he hangs back and talks to you.
What does he say?
Well, he tells you that a crown was offered Caesar, and that Caesar turned it down, and when he turned it down, that's when the crowd began to shout.
What was the second shout for?
For the same thing.
And there was a third shout too, right? What was that shout for?
Was he offered the crown 3 times?
He was.
Who offered it to him?
Mark Antony.
What does he say exactly? Does he have any more details?
He does, though Casca thinks the whole thing was ridiculous. Antony would offer Caesar the laurels from the race and pretend that it was a crown, and then Caesar would refuse them. But Casca thinks that he actually really wanted to accept them as a crown. Casca found the whole thing disgusting as he found the crowd itself, with their grubby clothes and stinking breath, as he puts it. Casca actually thinks that the crowd was so disgusting that it made Caesar faint.
Did you just say the great Caesar fainted?
Casca says he did. He apparently fell down in the marketplace, was foaming at the mouth, and he couldn't speak.
It's possible. Caesar has the falling sickness.
The epilepsy.
It is we who have the falling sickness, Brutus.
What do you mean?
Brutus and I fall as Caesar rises.
Well, Casca certainly thinks that Caesar had a lot of power over the crowd. He was getting them to boo and to clap, just like an actor would at a theater.
What happened to him when this fit was over?
Well, Casca says that before he fell down, Caesar was playing the crowd by opening up his shirt and exposing his neck as if to be cut, which Casca said was very tempting. And it was then that Caesar fell down. And then, after he came to, he told the crowd that they should forgive him for anything he'd done that they didn't like, and that they should attribute it all to his sickness. And then some women near Casca cried, "Alas, good soul," and they apparently forgave him with all their hearts. But Casca says you shouldn't pay any attention to what the crowd was doing, because he believes that Caesar could have stabbed their mothers and they still would have praised him.
And that's when he left, looking as sad as he did just now?
That's right.
Did Cicero say anything?
Yes, let's see. According to Casca, Cicero spoke, but Casca said it was all Greek to him. We use that expression too.
I think he means he spoke in Greek. He does that.
Well, then maybe this is where we get that expression. Anyway, Casca doesn't know what Cicero said, but he also reports, and Marulus and Flavius were executed for pulling decorations off of Caesar's statues. Starting to understand how serious all of this is.
Welcome to Rome. I would like to ask Casca to dine with me.
Yes, that's right, but Casca says that he already has plans.
Tomorrow night?
Sure, if he's alive and you don't change your mind and that you serve good food. This guy's a little rough around the edges.
He's gotten that way. He was a sharp guy back in his school days.
And he still can be if he's involved in any bold and noble enterprise.
As part of your team, perhaps.
Look, I've got to get going. If you want to continue this conversation, you can come by my place, or I can come by your place, but I'll have to see you gentlemen later.
I will do so, Brutus, and until then, think about the future of Rome.
That's a guy with a lot on his mind.
He's noble, no doubt. But he's also susceptible to losing a sense of his own nobility. And that's why we noble types need to stick together, to keep ourselves from betraying our better selves.
The good guys need to stick together.
Caesar doesn't like me, but he loves Brutus. If I were Brutus right now and he were Cassius, he wouldn't be able to sway me.
Well, wait, so if you and Brutus switched places, then he wouldn't be able to sway you? Or if you and Brutus switched places, then Caesar wouldn't be able to sway your opinion?
I know what I'll do. I'm going to write some letters in different handwriting so it looks like they came from different people, all saying what a high opinion the people of Rome hold of Brutus and hinting at Caesar's ambition. And then I will throw these letters in through Brutus's window tonight.
Really? That sounds a little manipulative. I mean, for people who are so worried about noble behavior.
It's just a little corrective action to put Brutus on the right course.
And, sorry, but if you have to be the one to write these letters, then doesn't that mean that you're the only one that feels this way?
And after this, let Caesar seat him sure, for we will shake him or worse days endure.
I'm sorry, that's a little confusing again. Seat him sure. You mean Brutus? And shake him refers to Caesar? Or do you mean shake Brutus so that he wakes up a little bit, as you put it?
Do you have some papyrus I could use? For the letters.
Well, sure. Here. You can write on the backs of these.
These are nice. Egyptian.
No idea.